welcome back to the video. So I'm going to show you some Git commands that every developer should know. So right now I'm on GitHub. I'm in a repository called Learn Git, and there's one text file in here. This text file is called gitcommands.txt. It has all the commands we're going to go over, and here's the first one. The first one is called git clone. So git clone copies code from a remote repo such as GitHub or GitLab to your local machine. It could be your laptop, your desktop. The way you call it, you say git clone followed by like the URL of the repository. The way you find that at is you go to GitHub, you go to this green like little code button, and then you copy this where it says HTTPS. You're gonna copy it. In order to like clone your repo, you need to have like somewhere to store it. You can just use an empty folder. It's called the Git Basics. So now we can actually run the clone command in the macOS terminal. So we can open up terminal, or I like to run it in the VS Code integrated terminal. So let's open up the VS Code integrated terminal. We're gonna navigate to our folder. We're gonna open it. We save it under desktop. We call it the Git Basics. We're gonna open it, and then we're gonna see our terminal. We're gonna say new terminal. And the first command was git clone, and then the name of a repository or the URL of a repository. And now if we look at it, it's gonna have the same like repo name in the same file, the same like file with all like the git commands in it. The only thing is when you do this, you're not gonna actually be in like the repo you just cloned. You're gonna be in the folders. So the way you can get into it and start running your commands is you could do cd and then the name of it, learn git. So just like that. Because if we run a git command right now, we could say git status is not gonna work because we're not in the repo. Or the easier way, instead of doing cd, you could do open folder, navigate to the folder you created, and here's going to be the same name as the repository, and then you can open it. And if we make a new terminal, next time whenever you like open the folder, open the one you cloned, it's going to have the same name as your repository. And then you can do git status, and it's actually going to work. It's going to say you're in the main branch, and your branch is up to date with origin and main, and there's going to be nothing to commit. So all of this we're actually going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about like branches, main, commit. So let's open up that file. So we kind of talked about clone already, and then we talked about branch briefly. So branches, they allow developers to like work on features or fix bugs and then make their own branch and then merge it to like the main branch. So if you're like a developer or an engineer at Google, you're not gonna like work directly on the main branch because you're probably gonna break something. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna make your own like feature branch, and then once you make a feature or you fix a bug, you're gonna have like someone higher up than you look at it and to be sure it's not gonna break anything, and then you can merge it to the main branch. So branches are actually pretty useful, and by like default you're gonna be on the main branch. Here's some commands to how to make a branch. So git branch and then the branch name that creates a new local branch. So you can do git branch, and the branch name, we'll call it Ruben branch. So that creates a branch. We could delete a branch, and then we could switch to another branch. So we just created one, so let's switch to it. We do git checkout, and then the branch name was Ruben branch. So now we switch to it. We could do all of this in one command. We could say git checkout-b branch name. It creates the branch and then switches to it. So git checkout-b, and I'm typing branch name. It was called Ruben branch, but we already have one called that, so we'll say Ruben branch 1. So now we're creating a branch, and then we switch to it. And now we can see switch to a new branch, Ruben branch. I actually want to add something to this. I have another command I want to show off. It's called git switch and then the branch name. And then we'll say switches to branch name of choice. So that's good that we're adding to it. You see how this is green now? That means we added to the file. So we'll do git switch, and like I was saying, by default your default branch is main. So now we're back in main, and now we could use delete -d to delete some branches. So we could say git branch -d to delete the 2 branches we made. They were called Ruben branch. I deleted that one, and then the next one called Ruben branch 1. So now they're both deleted, and now we're back on main. So we kind of use git status to see if like everything was working correctly. whenever we weren't in the repo that we like cloned, it gave us an error. But git status gives a lot of information about a branch. So whenever you create something, create a file or delete a file or add to a file, you see how it's green here? That means we added to it. And if we run git status, it's going to say we modified it because we added to it. You can also be used to like know when something is like it needs to be pulled or pushed, or when like you're about to commit something. So git status is actually very useful. It gives you a lot of good information about like the branch. And then there's git add. So git add is the way we add our files to be committed. So you see how this one is modified? We want to add it to the next commit. The way we could do that is we could say git add and then the file name, or we could do git add all, git add dash dash all. Say we're making like a game using Java and we have like 20 Java files. We don't want to say git add file name for all 20 of them. We could do git add dash dash all. But for this example, I'm going to do git add in the file name, which would be this all right here, git commands dot text. We're just adding this file to be committed because we changed some parts of it. So now we added it, and then we do git status. Now it's going to be green, saying we modified it. So we added it to the next commit. And here's the next thing, which is the next command called git commit. So imagine like you're about to push everything to your repository. First, you have to commit it. When you say commit it, and say you're pushing this code, you're not going to change it anymore to the repository. So I wrote, it's like taking a screenshot of your code at a certain time, getting it ready to be pushed to GitHub or GitLab. And the way you do it, you say git commit dash m. I think of dash m as like dash message, and then a short message explaining what you developed or what you added. So let's do that. We can say git commit dash m, and we can say made some changes to git commands .txt, and now it's ready to be pushed to the repository, which brings us to our next command. So git push pushes whatever we changed, whatever we committed to the repository. And what I mean by repository, I mean like GitHub. You see how we have git command in here? Whenever we push it, it's going to be updated. Whatever we update, it's going to be updated here in the repository. So the way we do that, we could say git push the remote branch. The way we can find the remote branch, we could say it's always going to be origin by default. We say git remote dash v. It's going to be origin by default. So we're going to say git push origin and then the branch name. We're on the main branch right now. So if we say git push origin main, it's going to push to the main branch. It's something you typically don't want to do. Kind of wrote some warnings. So be careful pushing the main branch if you're on a team. If you're working by yourself and you're just using this as a way to store your code for like school, by all means do it. But pushing to the main branch may cause some like issues. It may delete work that was here or might break something. So a better way to do it, you can do git push origin and then a feature branch. We kind of talked about it. We're gonna make one right after this. But now let's push the branch. Let's push the main. So you can say git push origin main. Since we're on main, it's gonna push to the main branch. So now I wrote everything. And if we go back to our repo and reload this, here's our commit message we did. And then here's what we added. Git switch branch name. So now let's before we make a feature branch, let's make a Python file. So main.py. And then we're going to push a whole different file to the main branch. We could say print push to main in repo. That's all it's going to say. We could run it just for fun. It says push to main in repo. Okay, so if we run git status, it should be in red because we created a whole new file. And then we could do git add. I'm going to go back to it. We can do git add file name, or we do git add all. Let's do git add all, so we're going to type the file name in. And if we do git status, it's going to be in green now. Now we're going to do git commit dash m, which stands for dash message. And we can say added a Python file. So now it's committed. Now it's ready to be pushed. Git push origin main. So we're gonna push to main because I'm not at a job or I'm not working with the team. So it's completely fine to push to main. We're pushing to main because the branch is name mained. If it was named something else like feature branch and the branch didn't exist, it would just create it. But since our branch is name main, it's gonna push to main in GitHub. And if we pull it up again, and we could reload it, you see there's main.py. Or if we go back here, you'll see main.py here, and it says push to main in repo. We wrote that in VS Code, and now it's on GitHub. So let's make an actual feature branch, because you don't want to push to main unless you're working like by yourself. So we're gonna use this command to make a branch and switch to it. Git checkout-b, and then we'll call it Ruben feature. So now we created that branch, and now we switch to it. And now let's see. Now we'll make a new file. We'll call it feature.py. This is the Python file. And we'll print this is a Python feature. We'll go back to our Git commands, and then we could do git add. So we can add it. You can do git add all. Git status, so we can see that it's added. It should be in green now, which it is. Git commit -m. The message. So we can add a Python feature. Okay, so now we're gonna push it. Since it's not main anymore, it's not gonna push to the main branch. It's gonna push to our feature branch, what we call Ruben feature. But if we go back to repository, that branch doesn't exist, so it's gonna create one for us. The only one we have is main. So we'll go open VS Code again. We'll do git push origin Ruben feature. And now it worked successfully. And if we reload this, we see we have a Ruben feature branch and has feature.py. Here it's asking us if we want to compare and make a pull request. When you make a pull request, it's asking for someone to like check it and see if you can merge it to like main. We're not going to do that yet, it's a little advanced. But you can see here's our Python feature. So there's that. And now we'll learn about git pull. Let's go back to VS Code. So git pull origin, and then whatever we want to pull from the repository in GitHub. So this fetches updates from a remote repository, like in GitHub, from the specified branch, in this case it'd be main, and it applies them to your local branch, to your computer. The only thing about this, it may cause like merge conflicts. So like if you are working on something and then someone else already worked on it and you pull it without you knowing that they worked on it, you're gonna have to decide which code to keep. But a git pull origin main is very useful to like get code from like the repository to like your main machine instead of doing git clone every time. Say say you have two computers, one for school and then one for like your house, and like you write some Python code at school, but you want to pull that to work from home, to work on it from home. You could do git pull origin and then the name of like whatever branch you pushed it to. So let's actually let's put some code on there, or let's do something. So now we're on main. Let's add a file. We'll create a new file and we'll just make a text file. This was made in Google Chrome in GitHub. And then we'll name it just text.txt. And then we'll commit it. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Text.txt. So this file only exists in GitHub right now. It was made in Google Chrome and GitHub. But you may be asking, how do I get this to like my code editor in VS Code? So the way you do that, let's switch back to main. So we'll do git switch. So we can go back to the main branch. So now we're on main. We could do git pull origin main, and then this will pull it. And you'll see here, this was like whatever we made in Google Chrome, GitHub. Instead of calling clone, you could just call git pull origin and then whatever branch. In this case, we made in the main branch, so we call main. Yeah, so that's really about it. The good thing about git pull origin main, it makes it so you don't have to clone every time. So like I was saying, say you write code on your school computer, but you want to work on it on your home computer, you would push it, so it's on the repo, and then you could say git pull origin main, and it'll pull that code to your code editor. So now you could use it at your home. So this is a great way to like save your code. Say like if you're a student, I know people who had code on flash drives or on Dropbox. So it's a really convenient way for you to like save your code in a repository, or say you work as a software engineer. It's a great way for you to collaborate with like your coworkers and work on a big app or a big project together. So if this helped you in any way, please leave a like and subscribe.